So you get your house on the market, you get it under contract, and then you start wanting to contact movers. Maybe you've decided to contact them before your house ever went on the market. But many times we go from putting it on the market to getting under contract and then wanting to hire movers. No matter what happens, I usually have 3 or 4 good movers that I recommend to people. But it's really funny with these mover recommendations once I give them. No one has exactly the same experience with any one of the 4. Recommending movers and hiring movers is kind of a moving target, if you will, because a lot of times, depending on the situation, the experiences can be entirely different. One thing I want you to keep in mind with movers is that when they're moving a whole house full of your furniture and your belongings, something will probably get broken. I know that that's not something we like to hear, but when we're talking about boxing up, not everyone can box materials very well. So when we're talking about boxing up our lives and moving them, even if we do the best job that we can of packing our own boxes, or if someone else does, you're talking about putting things in a box, getting them moved out of the house to the truck, having a bouncy trip to the next destination, and then having them unloaded and put in the house. Like I said, something is bound to happen. So here are some things that I want you to keep in mind, because even with the best movers, things are going to happen. Regardless of where you get your recommendations, check online reviews for these movers. You're not going to find a perfect one. I guarantee you will not, because things do happen over the course of that process. And the move is only as good as the people who pack the boxes to begin with, let alone the people who carry them, put them on the truck, and unload them. So check online reviews. I am always curious when I check online reviews as to how bad situations are handled. I don't look for only good marks for every single company that I deal with. I like to see how they treat people when things don't go right. I think that's a really good indicator of who you're dealing with. So check those online reviews. Again, with movers, you're not going to find perfection, but see how they handle things. See how they treat people publicly. See what their process is like when things go south, when they go downhill. Pay a little more for good service. Some of these movers are astronomical and others are cheap, but be willing to pay a little more. If there's a mover that's a little more expensive, but their reviews are pretty decent and they seem to treat people well, be willing to pay a little more for good service, because you're talking about everything you own being packed up and moved by someone else. So be willing to pay just a little more for better service. Again, know that things will get broken. If you're packing your boxes and the movers get you from point A to point B and everything's broken in those boxes, I'm not exactly sure that that's all on the mover. So just understand that something's going to get broken during that move. And you know what? If it's not, then be grateful and tip them better at the end. But just know that something's going to get broken in that process. You just don't want everything broken. Purchase insurance if available for the move, so that if something does get damaged or misplaced, that you're covered. And I think the most important thing of all is you need to move anything that's irreplaceable or extremely fragile yourself, unless it's huge. Then you might want to pay for someone to move that particular piece or those particular pieces individually, who's an expert at moving those things. Pianos would be a good example of this. So again, if you have irreplaceable fragile items, don't move them with the rest of the house. Make sure that you make special arrangements for those things to be moved, so that once you get to your destination, you're a much happier person at the end of the day. So if you have questions about this topic or any other real estate related topic, feel free to reach out to me by phone, text, email, private message. And if you're watching on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe. Thanks, bye.